Oral questions.
Oral questions. Questions on Honorable Leader of the Opposition, soon to be next Prime Minister of Canada, Pierre poilievre.
Yet he clings to power. He's lost control of immigration, lost control of the borders, lost control of spending, deficits, inflation, housing costs. In fact, his former, apparently, finance minister was trying to get spending under control by capping the deficit at an already crazy $40 billion. But he took carbon tax Carney's advice and pushed her beyond that guardrail and was trying to throw her off the cliff. She's now resigned minutes before presenting her fall economic update. This cannot go on. When will we have a carbon tax elected?
Put some W's down in the chat.
The government in the House of Commons.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, our government looks forward to presenting the fall economic statement later this afternoon. But I would also like to take this opportunity to extend my gratitude for all that the member from University Rosedale has accomplished for this country and will continue to do for this country. She has played an integral role in this government. First of all, standing up for Canada and defending NAFTA, bringing forward universal childcare, and the incredible work that she has done in defending Ukraine. We are very grateful for all that she's contributed to this government and to Canada. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
For the finance minister. Who are you?
Hey!
The Honourable Leader of the Government in the House of Commons.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, at a time when Canadians are struggling, we are happy to bring forward measures that are going to assist them. Things like the GST tax cut that took place starting this past Saturday, going until February 15th. And while the Conservative leader and the members of his caucus stay focused on us, we're going to stay focused on helping Canadians. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
That is so funny.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, it was a serious question. Who is the finance minister? After the finance minister's resignation this morning, automatically the industry minister became Minister of Finance. And congratulations. But he immediately quit. After him, in the line of precedence, it was the two Randys. Well, they don't want it. So now we don't have a finance minister just a couple of minutes before the fall economic statement will be presented. So where's the minister?
The Honourable Leader of the Government,
The Honourable Leader of the Government in the House of Commons. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As I said, our government is looking forward to presenting the fall economic statement later this afternoon. There are important measures in that update, measures that are important for Canadians. It's time for the Leader of the Conservatives to recognize that while he's focused on us, we are focused on Canadians.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, just to underline the chaos we're faced with here, the finance minister resigned the day she was to present the fall budget, which was going to contain a massive deficit overrun. The job then went automatically to the industry minister, who immediately resigned, like on the spot, which then went down the line, and the next person in order was the famous two Randys. And they're not available to do the job either. We're now less than 2 hours away from the fall economic update. Why won't the Prime Minister have the courage to come in here, present it himself, and put it for a confidence vote tonight?
Yeah. Jagmeet did say that he's calling on Trudeau to resign.
I would like to remind all members, as I did during statements today, for members to be careful not to refer to other sitting members by their names, but to use their titles or to use their writing names. The Honourable Leader of the Government in the House of Commons.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, Mr. Speaker, while the Leader of the Opposition continues to play politics in this place, we look forward to presenting the fall economic statement afternoon that will have a series of important measures for Canadians. Things that are going to help them with the affordability challenges, that are going to put Canada, Canadian jobs, and the Canadian economy first. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I would like to ask the honourable member from St. Albert, Edmonton, to please not take the floor.
Can we put some W's down in the chat for Trudeau's resignation?
Recognized by the Speaker.
Oh!
People can't afford their groceries. People can't find
Yeah.
home to call their own. And the Conservatives are laughing.
Hey, call an election, buddy. Come on. Sell out. Sell out, the Conservatives are chirping. Sell out. Put some L's down in the chat for Jagmeet. He is a bit of a sellout, isn't he? Put some L's down.
The honourable member from Burnaby South from the top, please.
Canadians literally cannot afford the groceries they need. They can't afford to find a home to call their own. And now Trump, buddies of the Conservatives, MAGA Conservatives love this guy, Trump is threatening hundreds of thousands of jobs in Canada. And the Prime Minister is more focused on himself, on infighting. The Prime Minister cannot remain in that position. Will he resign?
The Honourable Minister for Innovation.
Mr. Speaker, this is not the time for slogan. This is for partisanship.
He was 5 minutes minister for 5 minutes.
To make jokes, Mr. Speaker. This is about rallying for Canadians. This is a time where Canadians needs to know that this all the members are standing behind them, that we're going to invest in Canadians, that we're going to invest in this country, that we're going to invest in our workers, and that we're going to invest in our industry, Mr. Speaker, and that we're going to prepare Canada to be the best prepared to be able to deal with our U.S. friends. Mr. Speaker, this is the time where we show that we are all Canadians.
You shut the fuck up, your finance minister, for 5 minutes. I'm sorry.
The honourable member for Burnaby South.
So I'll ask again in French. Les gens...
That's funny.
People are having a very hard time paying for groceries. Young people can't find affordable housing. And beyond that, we have the threat of Trump's tariffs. And that's putting hundreds of thousands of jobs in Canada in danger. And instead of dealing with issues that are important for Canadians, the Prime Minister is dealing with fighting in his own party. It's clear that the Prime Minister cannot continue. Will he resign today, yes or no?
Wow.
The Honourable Minister of Innovation. Mr. Speaker, as
Look at Sean Fraser updating his resume.
time for jokes, this isn't a time for partisanship. It's certainly not a time for conservative.
He's going to be there until the next shuffle, so like 2-3 more
Mr.
days.
Speaker, to work together as parliamentarians to defend Canada, to invest in Canada, to defend our workers, to invest in our industry. And Mr. Speaker, I call on all members of this House
invest in an election.
duty to work for the good of Canada so that we can face the incoming American administration. Mr. Speaker, today we are all Canadians. Let's work together.
Mr. Speaker, the NDP leader is absolutely right. This cannot continue. This Prime Minister cannot go on like this. Housing costs have doubled. Food bank use has doubled. The debt has doubled. Gun crime has doubled. And now we face troubling tariff threats from a president who can see weakness coming from a mile away. The Prime Minister must leave this job, but there's only one person who can remove him, and that's the leader of the NDP. Will he put the country ahead of his pension and vote for a carbon tax election now?
There you go. Yeah. Drop some W's in the chat, folks. He's threatening to mute the mic. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Oh, come on! By the way, you can try to get him to stop muting the mic by going to the website down below in the description called stopmutingthemic.ca and sign my petition.
The preamble to that question dealt with the administration of government. The question itself did not, and this Chair has made it clear that
If you haven't yet already, I'd like to encourage you guys to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.
Prime Minister has lost control. The Prime Minister's own deputy quit just hours before her economic statement, all of a sudden saying, Canadians know when we're focused on ourselves, and describing a newfound disdain for costly political gimmicks. Those are her quotes. Right. This after her own political rival, Mark Carney, wrote the fall economic statement full of things that she didn't want to present. The old boys club isn't in charge. Canadians are. Right. And it's time for credible leadership in the seriousness of this moment, not the fake feminism of this phony Prime Minister. It's time for Canadians to decide. So will anyone or everyone over there finally agree?
Yeah.
Wow. Look at that.
Leader of the government in the House.
Kicking them when they're down.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As I mentioned,
Look at this Lucy Lou look-alike.
To presenting the fall economic statement that is going to have a series of important measures for Canadians. At a time like this, it is important that all of us band together, united as Canadians, to make sure that we're doing everything we can to protect the Canadian economy, protect Canadian jobs, and to stand up for Canada. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Thornhill.
Mr. Speaker, they can't even stand by each other. For delivering the fiscal update, the finance minister resigned. She lost confidence in the Prime Minister. Last night, the failed housing minister and the worst immigration minister in the history of this country also resigned. A couple of Randys, and now they're up to 9 ministers that need to be replaced. He's lost control of the government. The party of backroom boys is over. The backbench should look up from their laptops, and the NDP leader shouldn't be the only one in this House with confidence in the Prime Minister. Present the statement and call a vote today.
Hear, hear.
Yeah. Show us the goods. Show us the fall economic statement. Come on. Put some W's down, huh? She's on fire.
Again, I'm just going to, for the last time, order. Order. I'm going to ask members once again to remind themselves not to refer to members by their first names. The Honourable Minister for Housing Infrastructure.
This is his last at bat.
Now, Mr. Speaker, I'm not sure who she's talking about, but I'm still here for now.
For a day.
I guarantee you, Mr. Speaker, that there are two kinds of people who run for office in politics. There are people who want to do something, and there are people who want to be somebody. And I can tell you, on our side of the house, we want to do things. We want to build the houses to make sure families can afford to keep a roof over their heads. We want to make sure families can afford to keep their food on the table to feed their kids. We want to make sure people can find a job to go to that gives them a sense of pride and allows them to contribute to their communities. On the Conservative side, their guy has been writing essays about why he should be Prime Minister since he was a teenager.
Yeah, right, buddy. That's your last at bat.
The Honourable